By the end of this video, I'm going to give you an exercise that you should do for 3 nights only to prove to yourself that the love assumption works whether you like it or not. In this video, we are deciphering a success story by a business executive in New York City. This story illustrates the successful use of the law by a New York business executive. In the fall of 1950, an executive of one of New York's prominent banks discussed with me a serious problem with which he was confronted. He told me that the outlook of his personal progress and advancement was very dim. So this guy came to Neville Goddard to discuss with him a personal issue in his work. Having reached middle age and feeling that a marked improvement in position and income was justified, he had talked it out with his superiors. They frankly told him that any major improvement was impossible and intimated that if he was dissatisfied, he could seek another job. So this guy wanted to have a better future. He wanted to be comfortable when he retires. So he wanted to make sure that when he actually hang his boots, everything will be all right and he will live comfortably. This, of course, only increased his uneasiness. In our talk, he explained that he had no great desire for really big money, but that he had to have a substantial income in order to maintain his home comfortably and to provide for the education of his children in good preparatory schools and colleges. So this guy wasn't greedy. He didn't want to have billions. He wanted to have a good amount of money that will make him live comfortably and will assure that his children were actually getting the good education that he wanted them to have. This he found impossible to his present income. The refusal of the bank to assure him of any advancement in the near future resulted in a feeling of discontent, an intense desire to secure a better position with considerably more money. So this guy was actually so insecure about the future. He was afraid because nothing was promised in his possession. All his dreams about the future were actually becoming shattered in front of his own eyes. He was segregated from all his wishes. He confided me that the kind of job he would like better than anything in the world was one in which he managed the investment funds of a large institution, such as a foundation or great university. So now he started to design a game plan on what he wants. You've got to know what you want. That's the first step. He knew what he wanted. He wanted to manage a great university or a foundation. He wanted to be in a large institution. In explaining the law of assumption, I stated that his present situation was only a manifestation of his concept of himself, and declared that if he wanted to change the circumstances in which he found himself, he could do so by changing his concept of himself. That's what I always tell you guys. You are always manifesting what you believe to be true, whether you like it or not. Your inner convictions and your inner beliefs about your world is what is actually shaping your reality. So if you don't like what you see in the mirror, change what's in front of it. And you are in front of that mirror. So if you are frowning, smile. This guy probably had some inner beliefs, some insecurities about the future. So he had to change his conception of himself. He had to change who he was in order to get to what he wants. He could do so by changing his concept of himself in order to bring about this change of consciousness and thereby a change in his situation. I asked them to follow this procedure every night just before he fell asleep. So Neville is here constructing a scene that he should follow before going to bed. He's constructing a scene to that man to follow. In imagination, he was to feel he was retiring at the end of one of the most important and successful days of his life. He was to imagine that he had actually closed the deal that very day to join the kind of organization he yearned to be with, and in exactly the capacity he wanted. So Neville here is going to the end. He's going to the end result. That guy wanted that job. So Neville is constructing a scene to that guy that implies that he already got that job. I suggested to him that if he succeeded in completely filling his mind with this feeling, he would experience a definite sense of relief. So this is the key, guys. This is the sign that you actually did the imaginal act correctly. When you feel the relief that it is done. This is what I mean when I say feeling is the secret. This is what Neville meant. Feeling is not emotion. Feeling is acceptance. The acceptance of the fact that it is done. In this mood, his uneasiness and discontent would be a thing of the past. So he is leaving his past concept of himself, and he is becoming more intertwined with the new conception of himself. He would feel the contentment that comes with the fulfillment of desire. I wound up by assuring him that if he did this faithfully, he would inevitably get the kind of possession he wanted. So Neville here assured this guy that if he follows this day after day, night after night, it's inevitable that he will get this job. This was the first week of December. Night after night, without exception, he followed this procedure. This is the discipline that I always talk about. This guy believed Neville, and he applied the law to the T. He didn't give up after a week. He persisted in what he's doing. 3 months. He did it for 3 months without hesitation, without doubt. Every single day, he did it. Before going to sleep, he did it. After he woke up, he was actually feeling the wish fulfilled, even though everything around him is telling him otherwise. Early in February, a director of one of the wealthiest foundations in the world asked this executive if he would be interested in joining the foundation in an executive capacity, handling investments. After some brief discussion, he accepted. Today, a substantially higher income, and with the assurance of steady progress, this man is in a position far exceeding all that he had hoped for. So remember in the beginning, he said he didn't want that much money, but the acceptance of the fact that he got what he wanted made him more money than he imagined. And this is the key. When you are grateful for little things, you will become more susceptible to having more. But notice here that this guy didn't give up after 1 month or 2 months. He actually continued to do it night after night. And that is probably because he was changing his rooted beliefs. He was becoming a new man, a new concept of himself. So the old self had to die. His old conception of himself had to die, had to go away, so that he becomes a new man. What I like about this story is that every single day, he never missed a day. He was becoming more intertwined with the end result, with the wish fulfilled, with everything that he ever wanted. He was not giving up. He was persistent in what he's doing. He was faithful to his imaginal act, and he was optimistic that it is done, even though everything around him was telling him otherwise. So here is the exercise that I want you to do for 3 nights only. I want you to climb a ladder to sleep. And throughout your day, I want you to write on every single thing that you see, I will not climb a ladder. What I'm trying to prove here, that whatever you are doing throughout your day, what you fall asleep doing, you will experience. Even though throughout your day, you're telling yourself, I will not climb a ladder. I will not climb a ladder. You were not to climb a ladder. But every time, just before you go to bed, I want you to imagine that you are climbing a ladder, going up the ladder, down the ladder, until you fall asleep. And tell me your experiment results. And I'm sure that the world will create something that will make you climb a ladder. So that's it for today's video. I hope you really enjoyed it. If you did, subscribe to the channel. Like to reach more people, tell me down below in the comments what do you want to see next. Check out the ebook in the description box. And until next video, I will see you soon.